The Star of David is also known as the Seal of Solomon, and it recalls our connection to the Jewish faith. David was the great Jewish warrior and biblical king. Solomon, his son, was noted for his inspired universal wisdom as well as his unskillful choices in his day-to-day life. The six-pointed star is created by the intersection of two equilateral triangles, one on top of the other. The top triangle here represents our higher human impulses, things like patience, reason, intuition, inspiration. And the bottom triangle represents our more base and primal human elements and qualities, things like pride, greed, selfishness, a tendency towards violence, or a belief in individualism as the only way. Now, where the higher centers and the lower centers meet is in the center, the heart center. This symbol reminds us to use our heart, our love, as the arbiter of our choices and our actions. The heart is going to be the great healer for the world. This symbol also suggests profound human courage and eternal hope. We remember that Jews marked for extermination in the Holocaust were forced to wear this symbol. We are reminded that freedom is a fragile privilege. The circle has meant many things to many people for many, many years. It's perhaps the oldest religious symbol of all. Our primitive ancestors scratched circles into the walls of caves and wove branches into burning circles that chased away the night. The circle's unending form suggests time and eternity. The shape reminds us of the planets and the universe. Philosophers and sages have said the circle represents the goodness inherent in all creation. To us as Unitarian Universalists, this circle represents our heritage of universalism, which teaches the eternal goodness of God and the potential goodness within each person. The circle represents the universalist dream of a united humankind. As Wendell Berry writes, we clasp the hands of those that go before us and the hands of those who come after us. We enter the little circle of each other's arms and the larger circle of all creatures passing in and out of life. Now, the Flaming Chalice combines two ancient symbols for our contemporary faith. For thousands of years, the chalice itself was a symbol of female energy and female impulse. It was the sacred womb of the universe. It held the powers of regeneration. For thousands of years, the flame itself also stood as a symbol, a power of masculine energy and impulse. It was the active power of warmth, creation, and destruction. The Flaming Chalice is now the symbol of our Unitarian and Universalist faith. But before the Unitarians and the Universalists merged into one denomination in 1961, the Flaming Chalice was first adopted by the Unitarian Service Committee as a symbol of its humanitarian initiatives in World War II. This symbol was used by the Unitarian Service Committee to rescue Jews and Unitarians from Nazi persecution. Just as the circle represents our Universalist roots, the Flaming Chalice represents our Unitarian roots. Now, we move on to the 6 new symbols. The crescent, moon, and star is widely recognized as a symbol for Islam, the faith founded by the Prophet Muhammad in the early 600s. It's a faith that teaches the unity of all people between the one reality of the universe, which Muslims call Allah. But the crescent moon and the star predate Islam by thousands of years. Islam grew from ancient tribal peoples that worshipped many different gods, including the moon and the stars. So this image harkens back to the primal awe we feel at the wonder of the cosmos. Who here today hasn't stared up into the unfathomable depth of the night sky and pondered the mysteries of life. The moon has long been a symbol of the power of the feminine and for life rhythms and life cycles. The moon reminds us that all things are constantly changing and that times of darkness and shadow hold important gifts to guide our way on. The stars, once worshipped by some Arab tribes, symbolize wisdom, clarity, and guidance. They remind us that we're not meant to hide our gifts or talents, but to shine our light into the world. Now, there's some unsubstantiated suggestion that the 5 points of the star here, which counterbalance to the 6 of the Jewish star, the 5 points on this star represent the 5 pillars of Islam, or the 5 things that good Muslims must practice. Being 1, profess that there is one God and that God is Allah. 2, pray 5 times daily. 3, give 2.5% of money and property value to those in need. 4, fast during the sacred month of Ramadan. And 5, if possible, make a sacred pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca. It's absolutely true for us today to say that Islam is perhaps the most misunderstood of world religions. In this day and age, it is important that the symbol of Islam take its place on our arch. We, as Unitarian Universalists, share much in common with our Muslim sisters and brothers. We share a dream of peace. Islam was founded as a faith to bring peace to warring peoples. The word Islam itself is derived from the Arabic word for peace, salam. Compared to the societal practices of its time in the 600s, Islam was revolutionary and committed to justice for women and children. And Muhammad proclaimed, there is only one God, there is one eternal unity between all things. Likewise, Unitarians throughout history also proclaimed, there is only one God, there is one eternal unity between all things. Both Islam and Unitarianism have been persecuted and condemned for its message in a predominantly Christian world. The Sanskrit spelling of Om also reminds us of the underlying unity of all things. In the Hindu tradition, Om is the symbol for ultimate reality. Om is the symbol for pure power. Om itself is a sacred vibration of the universe. Anybody who has chanted Om for any period of time knows the feeling. It says, the Hindu tradition says, that underneath all things, underneath all sound, there is one primal vibration that brought all things into being and sustains all things. Today, science tells us the same thing. All creation is vibrating energy. This, the Hindus say, is Om, and we've known it for thousands of years. The 3 curves of the Sanskrit letters that spell out Om, A-U-M, represent the physical, the mental, and the unconscious dimensions of reality. Supreme consciousness, that above all, is represented by this point that is outside and above all other things. Om reminds us that truth is one, but even the wise can speak of it in many ways.